What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Mike Holland at MC Holland34 of One and Done CBB, bringing you a late night edition of a DraftKings breakdown here. We have a 10-game main slate and sipping off at noon Eastern. So we got 5K to first out there, hoping the breadheads can get their hands on some of that. And then we also have a $60 King of the Bracket qualifier that I'll be firing off to see if we can't get that thing going. But hope everyone's doing well tonight. We only got a couple of more Sundays till Selection Sunday. So, we're going to be covering conference tournaments, the bracket. And speaking of brackets, have you not heard, if you haven't been watching our show, BracketBids done changed the game, baby. So get on over to BracketBids.com or BracketBids app to go ahead and download that. 40% off your league activation fees. We partnered up with them, so you'll be seeing a lot of that on our show, and just go out there and hey, you're gonna make brackets anyway, so you might as well join it on bracketbids.com and try some different ways to select your teams in March. So definitely looking forward to it. It's an exciting time that we have going on right now. If you're in the chat, make sure you fire off those questions as we got a couple of people coming in. What's up, Cam? How you doing? Yes, I am solo tonight. Warren Tyler the third, what's up, man? And we got Belly Ball asking for the link for tomorrow's invitational that is becoming very, very popular. And we do have that, so we'll go ahead and drop that in the chat. Same thing, we got $3 entry, 30 spots to fill, so we'll drop that in the chat. We'll also fire that off on our socials here. And I think we're closing in on 1,400 subs, so grab somebody's phone, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button while you're at it. And just to make sure you guys are following us throughout the year. Even when the tournament ends, we will be doing transfer portal stuff, off-season content. So make sure you're locked in with us as we go through that. So we got a 10-game slate to get to. Let's hop right into an overview here. First thing I noticed when I opened up the main slates, we got an interesting one, man. We got 13 guys at 10K or above. So we have a lot of spend-up options. We got a couple of totals that are pretty massive, nearing 170 on KenPom. We do have plenty of value. We've got some injury news that we already know of. We have injury news that'll probably pop up. And we're still waiting on a few things, but there is value to be had on this slate. So looking forward to that. So you should be able to pretty much do what you want on this particular slate, which is a lot of fun. And the pricing on here, even though we have a bunch of guys that are expensive, we're going to be able to get to the guys that we want. So having said that, why don't we dive on in here to the first game? It is Maryland -6 at Penn State, 156 implied total. This is going to be a very, very fast game. All the metrics that we use here and we're giving to you are from KenPom. Both teams top 60 in tempo. Maryland projected to score 81 points here on the road. Man, we look at PSU's defense, it's not very good. They're giving up 38% from 3, 55% from 2 during conference play. Maryland should get a steal boost and an assist boost. Penn State's turning it over at a pretty high clip and also giving up almost 2 out of every 3 baskets are assisted. So we definitely like that. Now, the problem with Maryland here is that they're all expensive. And for good reason. I mean, we got Derek Queen sitting here at 10K. That's near a max price for him, but if you're in a tournament, you have to think about it. I mean, he's definitely got 50 to 60 fantasy point upside if everything goes absolutely correct for him. I probably will not be using him, but if you're not playing Broom, and obviously one of the key factors to any slate is what are you doing with Janai Broom? I think Derek Queen is a solid pivot because this is one of the bigger totals that's on the board at 156. I think it's going to be a tighter game with Maryland traveling here to Penn State. The matchup for Queen and Reese couldn't get any better here. So, YKN has his problems underneath. They don't really have much rim protection there. So these Maryland bigs should eat. And I think they're great pivots to Broom or even pairing with Broom if you play enough value to get to both of these guys. So as Tyler's jumping in here saying, can you get to 210K guys? Yeah, I think you absolutely can get to 210K guys. We'll talk about all the value pieces as we roll through the show here. So great question there, Warren. And yes, I will be using pretty much stars and trubs throughout my lineups tomorrow. All right, next guy here, Julian Reese at 8,800. I'd rather play the bigs in this spot. because Penn State has really struggled in the front court here. So Reese, you're saving $1,200, right? So that feels pretty nice, and we know he has 50 fantasy point upside. So he could easily grab 14 points, 14 rebounds, block 4 or 5 shots, and get you 45 to 50. So definitely like Julian Reese as a tournament play. The guards, I'm not going to pay up for Gillespie. Rodney Rice, they're all going to project well, obviously with an 80 team total. Rice is just close to 7,000. The guy I would take a shot on the backcourt would be Sultan Miguel at 5,600. Now he's got to be efficient from the floor. So, that last game, toss that one out. Typically a guy that's going to take 10 to 12 shots. He's going to shoot a lot of 3-pointers. He's on the floor for typically 30 plus minutes. I think he's more of a cash game target than like real upside for a tournament, because you're trying to beat a bunch of teams tomorrow. So I think my exposure for the tournaments is going to really be between Queen and Reese here. So we'll flip it over to the Penn State side. Maryland really tough defensively, 16th in the country in defensive efficiency. But we got to talk about our boy, who always seems like he's on a main slate when we're doing a show, and that's Ace Baldwin. He is near 10K, 9,800. So pretty big price tag, but he's going to play 36, 37, probably all 40 minutes in the spot. The game is close. So I haven't really played him as much when he's over this 9K range. So getting close to 10K is definitely going to be a contrarian spend up, especially at guard, because the forwards are loaded for spend ups. And the opportunity cost, because there's so much value at guard. It feels a little weird to kind of spend up for a guard. So definitely a contrarian type play. YKN at 7,500. I don't ever play him over 7K. This is a tough one. This is a tough matchup. I know he's been good recently, but I wouldn't buy into the hype train here. 31, 36 minutes is nice. They need him on the floor to be successful. But you're going up against Reese and Queen. I'm not a fan of that and basically a near max price for him. So probably off YKN. If you want to play him in a tournament as a run back to maybe a couple of Maryland guys, I get it. That just won't be me. I'll be looking at some Freddie DeLeon in like my smaller tournaments for 4,500. He's kind of settled into like this 30, 32 minute type role here. 16 to 21 fantasy points in 4 straight. The times when he's cracked 5X is really when he's playing in like these mega pace up spots. And this is a game, obviously 2 top 60 teams in tempo. Now he's got to be efficient from the field if he's going to try to really get you there in a tournament. I think he's really nice if you're playing like smaller tournaments, single entry. This is a really good game environment for him to get into. And you kind of like the role that he's kind of settling into. He's going to take 8 to 10 attempts from the field. He's going to be on the court, so hopefully he can, he's not a huge ancillary guy, but when you're on the floor that much, you just need to rack up a couple here and there, and that could really be the difference there. So DeLeon, definitely have some of him in some of my smaller tournaments for sure. I'll take some shots on some of this other value coming up in this next game in the larger field. Again, we're trying to get to 1,400 subs, so I think we're only 20, 19, 18 away, it looks like. So if you guys make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you have any questions in the chat, toss them in there. Darren jumping in. Time to use our big brain to win all these fabulous prizes. Yep. So be like the Liam McNeely and call all your friends. Absolutely, Darren. Appreciate you joining, man. 156 is definitely a nice total. From that first game that we talked about, just that pricing on Maryland is way up. So you're definitely paying to get into that spot. All right, let's jump over to the next game. Miami plus 17 at North Carolina, 167 implied total. That is a big total. We like that. Miami sitting at 175th in tempo. Going to get paced up here. North Carolina loves to get up and down. Top 30 in tempo. Miami projected to score 75 points. We know that North Carolina is middle of the pack defensively during ACC play. Should be a shot blocking boost to Miami. UNC, their opponents are blocking their shot at nearly a 12% clip during conference play. So, and we also know that the bigs have feasted against UNC all year. So, Miami does have a solid big who's playing a lot of minutes right now. Feels kind of like an ugly click, but for a large field, I don't mind it because even in blowouts, he's getting to 30 minutes, and that's Lynn Kidd. And just the fact that UNC's just been getting cooked by these fives. So I don't know how many times I'll click his name. Might just be once. I think right now I'm playing 12 lineups. But he has 35, 40 fantasy point upside in this particular matchup. So definitely large field only. You do like, though, that he has played 29 plus minutes in 4 straight. So this could quickly get out of hand because this Miami team plays zero defense. But, we've seen that in plenty of games recently. What you want is you want him to get up there in the double-digit field goal attempts because a rebound should be there for him and some shot blocking opportunities should be there for him as well. So Lynn Kidd at 7,500 is kind of interesting for a large field play. Now, all these cheap guards for Miami are definitely tourney plays. I'll kind of be rotating my exposure to these guys. Divine Ugochukwu, we've talked about him a ton on main slates. He's 4,500, 26 plus minutes in 8 straight games. 3 of those, he's cracked 30 minutes. His shot rate is not great, but he does have a 21% assist rate in conference, and his steal upside is pretty nice, nearly 4% in conference games. So the thing that you want is you want him reaching into that 30 minutes. He was able to do that, had a nice game against Duke, so maybe that'll give him some momentum coming into this one as Duke has a far better defense, and that was obviously shown by them holding Miami to 60 points than UNC does. So if Miami gets anywhere close to 75, I think Ugochukwu is going to be a nice play. I really love Jalil Bethea at 4,100. I think this kid will probably be 5,500 to 6,000 here over the next week as we close the season. Top 5 recruit in the country. It took him a long time to unleash him, but he got 31 minutes in the blowout at Duke, so he's blowout proof. Been above 25 minutes in 5 straight, so they're starting to play him. You do like that, unlike Ugochukwu, he has a 22% shot rate. The ancillary production, just a little bit here or there, but if you're talking about somebody that's going to get on the floor for 30 minutes in this pace-up spot, I do like Bethea for large field tournaments. Now, Paul Jobit down here at 4K, he's kind of a pivot to Bethea. Now, you're not going to get the minutes that Bethea should get, so he's more of like a secondary, even a tertiary GPP target just to kind of get different or weird. But he's played pretty well, 23, 24 minutes in the last couple of games, a little bit of rebounding upside for him. So, I wish he was getting close to the 30 minutes, but that's not really his role right now. So Ugochukwu or Bethea, going to find myself on them a lot in large field tournaments only. Cannot trust this Miami team at all when it comes to like smaller fields and cash games. So cool. We'll flip it over to the North Carolina side. They're implied for a ridiculous 92 points here. And Warren saying, hate having to pick from the UNC rotation. Darren saying, man, I wish there was a lock DFS player in this game. Yeah, so that's what's kind of weird about this spot, right? Like, Kid's in a solid spot just in the matchup and the fact that he's playing minutes. Those guards, Ugochukwu and Bethea, Peanut Butter, most of they are checked out. But they're playing their young guys some minutes. And then on this North Carolina side, the minutes are kind of spread out. Miami's so terrible, right? Nearly 40% from 3 given up and 56% from 2 on the year, not just in conference, on the year. So even the mids getting there against them, they're giving up nearly a 60% assist rate in conference as well. So I like the profile of the guards in this spot. Now, RJ Davis, I can't remember the last time he cracked 40 fantasy points. It's been a while. I'm fully off of him, but for a large field, if you want to click his name, okay, right? He's not going to get easier looks than in this one. But really a contrarian large field GPP option. I'm probably not clicking the name. Seth Trimble at 7K, too expensive. Probably not getting him at 7K. And then the guy that I would use, Darren's talking about, like, I wish there was a lock play in this one, is Elliot Cadeau. He's 6,700, and I just love playing him for large field tournaments because he is a guy that can end up on a winner and win you $5,000. Now, could he absolutely break your lineup? Yeah, 100%. Would it surprise me if he had 16 fantasy points in this spot? No. Would it surprise me if he had like 38 in this one? That wouldn't surprise me either, just because there's a high assist opportunity here. He's gonna take some shots here. Like, the floor should be wide open for him to kind of make plays, get downhill on this team. So I like Cadeau. Probably not touching. I know Withers has played well recently, but the price is up. I'm probably just not touching the front court at all here, as we have a comment popping through here from Leon. What's up, Leon? RJ's priced up. Let's see. Cam jumping in kind of like Powell. Okay. Yeah. Powell, I mean, mid-20s minutes. Okay. You can do a little bit of everything and play on a team that allows a lot of everything. Yeah, they do. So, yeah, if you want to play some of these other guys, I'm just most intrigued in a large field tournament for Elliot Cadeau. So, I don't know that I'll be that heavily invested in North Carolina, which is kind of weird to say, but the 2 freshmen for them, Jackson and and Powell for sure. You could fire them up because they can easily go off here. So appreciate the comments, Leon. Good to see you back in the chat, man. All right, hit those like and subscribe buttons. We've already got 2 games down, so we're on world record pace here for a Friday night type show. Shout out to our guy Jay, taking a little bit of break. Should be back here on Sunday at Dr. William Cannon, and then pushing the buttons as always, Eric the Blue at Fantasy Nav. Make sure you guys get over to BracketBids.com or download the BracketBids app as we get closer to tourney time. That's just right around the corner. And make sure you guys get signed up. Use the promo code BREAD for 40% off your league activation fees. All right. So ugliest game on the slate is Clemson -7 at Virginia, 131 implied total. Both teams are very, very slow. Clemson's 343rd in tempo. Virginia is 360th. That is why this game is implied to go 69. Clemson, Virginia, 62. Now, Virginia second to last in ACC play and defensive efficiency during conference play. They're giving up 36% from 3, 54% from 2. Look, Shefflin and Lock-in, like, they're not going to project well. I just find them interesting GPP contrarian large field targets because they both have 35, 40 fantasy point upside. Shefflin, though, I had him against it was that Notre Dame game, and he crushed. So, got the price increase. So you don't love it. I don't know that I'll actually get to these guys. I just find them interesting when we're trying to beat, a bunch of teams tomorrow. So, definitely GPP like contrarian plays here for this side. And on the Virginia side, it's not much prettier, but the prices are cheaper. I mean, 62 implied total. Clemson pretty solid defensively, 28th in the country. I'll say the name, Day Ames, and I got him right one time this year when he absolutely went off. He's 5,100. He's starting to be a little bit more consistent, which is really annoying because we know that there is definitely an ugly floor here, but 20 plus fantasy points in 5 out of the last 6 games. I mean, he's playing 35 minutes when the games are close. So it's definitely an ugly click. Needs to make his shots. Tournament only option. This entire game, you're not playing anybody in this game environment in cash and like smaller tournament settings or double ups. So I find Elijah Saunders kind of interesting as Darren Yawns here. Yeah, we're almost done with this one. One more guy here. Elijah Saunders at 4,200. A couple of games in after the foot injury, 22 and 26 minutes. 18 fantasy points in the last one. So 4,200, 18 fantasy points. Like if he ticks up to 30 plus minutes, even in this kind of ugly game environment, I mean, he's got a solid shot rate, some rebounding upside. Definitely an interesting tournament option at the forward spot where a lot of people are going to be going to this Arkansas forward value. So I think Elijah Saunders is just kind of interesting, right? But we can kind of move on from this game as this one's pretty ugly here. We'll slide on over to UConn -2 at Providence on KenPom. I was kind of shocked to see this -2 over on KenPom, but 148 implied total. That just tells you the kind of season UConn is having compared to the last couple. This first matchup, UConn won on the road. They won by 3 points. It's 87-84. Jaden Pierre had 24 points for Providence. Hassan Diarra's cooked in this one, 19 points and 8 assists in that matchup. Now we know UConn very slow, deliberate on offense. Providence 223rd in pace. So we're not going to have a ton of possessions in this game, but UConn, should probably be efficient here. I mean, 76 implied total. Providence bottom 3 in conference play and defensive efficiency. There should be a UConn steal boost, some turnover and easy transition opportunities here as Providence is a 20% turnover rate in conference play. We kind of run down the list. I mean, Liam McNeely's the cover boy. You're going to plug him in for 35 plus minutes. He's going to take at least 10 field goal attempts, if not 15 plus. So has big upside, but he really has to get hot from the field to carry you in a tournament at this price tag. So I think I like him a lot for smaller tournaments and for cash settings. I definitely don't mind Liam McNeely here at 8,100. Alex Caravan, I think he's kind of been the same player as he's always been. He's just not surrounded by Klingon and Newton and Castle and these guys. He's 7,300. He's going to play 34, 35 minutes in a close one. Does have 30 plus fantasy point upside. I liked it better when he was under 7K. He's just okay. I think I'd much rather get to the 2 guys underneath him. And Cam is already saying he's not touching Reed. And yeah, it's I mean, look, you got Hassan Diarra, who's much safer at 6,700, who's been balling out, and he balled out against these guys last time. I don't see any reason why he doesn't have a lot of success here. He should play 30 to 34 minutes in a close one. High assist upside. He had 8 in that first game. I wish he took a few more shots to kind of elevate the floor, but we haven't really seen much floor from him now at 6,700. He's not 5K anymore, so that kind of takes out some of that upside for us. So, yeah, I mean, I'll use a little bit of Sandiar just because he's on a little bit of a heater here, but 6,700, it does make you think. Terrace Reed, can you say you're not playing him? I'll toss him in a couple of lineups because they, like, outside of Liam McNeely running around and like trying to, coming off screens and, hard drives, like, they don't really have anybody that can create offense. Like, we watched that St. John's game, they had to force feed Terrace Reed inside. Gassan Diarra is not a guy that's going to create a lot of offense and take a lot of shots. And Caravan's not a guy that creates offense, so they're kind of stuck in the mud. They were probably hoping Mahaney. Ball is a guy that can do that a little bit, but he hasn't taken the huge leap that we thought he was this year, although he's been pretty good. So Hassan Diarra, 6,700, but you can play Terrace Reed for $100 cheaper. I think they're going to have to play him 25 to 28 minutes coming down the stretch here. Like, he's just too good for him to just be sitting on the bench when Samson Johnson's out there. Just provides them a different dynamic for offense. They can play through him. He can draw double teams, get easier shots for this team. And you've seen that over the last 3 games. 27 minutes against Villanova, had a really good game. St. John's game was a tougher game. Obviously, a little bit of a blowout factor there, and he got into some foul trouble, but still a solid effort. And then 40 against Georgetown. Though this Providence matchup is pretty good too. So I definitely don't mind it for tournaments. But yeah, I mean, there's a chance that he could always play 16 minutes, and you're like, what the hell happened to Terrace Reed? But I really think Hurley's going to get this guy involved 25 plus minutes going forward. You have to, unless Caravan and McNeely just catch fire. So they have to have some type of low post presence to make this thing open up for them. But yeah, that's the UConn side. Flipping it over to Providence to get a 3-ball boost here. I mean, UConn's given up nearly 36% from 3 in conference play. The problem is with Providence, like, I don't like any of these guys just because of the price tags. Like Bensley Joseph, he's way up there now. The 8K price tag is pretty scary. Like, I know they got blown out by Marquette, so this is probably a solid spot because he dropped nearly $1,000 here. I would think he maintains in a closer game a solid role, and he was cooking. I mean, 30 plus, and this is a UConn team that you can absolutely you can carve them up for sure. So I don't mind me some Bensley Joseph. I just don't love this Providence side as a whole here. I don't ever play Jaden Pierre, so I don't care if Jaden Pierre is coming off like a game where he shoots like he would never do this, but if he ever shot like 15 to 15. I will never play him because I've been burned too many times. He's being asked to play a role that they don't really want him to play. That's taking a lot of shots. So for Bryce Hopkins down, obviously forced into that role yet again this year. Has played better this year. I'm just not playing him at that price tag though. Oswin E at 5,400. I mean, yeah, like the UConn has issues down low. They can give it up to some bigs. 5,400, if he's going to play 30 minutes or so, I don't mind him. Now, he's more of I'm not playing him in a large field tournament. He doesn't really have like 30 fantasy point upside. But if you're kind of stuck last man in, you're at the 5,500 mark, like you could definitely do worse than Oswin E. So it's Providence I'm pretty much off of. I am looking at playing at least one UConn player in a lot of like large field lineups. So that'll do it for this particular game. We'll jump back in here. Extension for Woody's talking about Indiana basketball. Belly Ball diving into that ugly Virginia game. What's up, Belly Ball? We got that one and done invitational, man. Hope you guys dive in there. Link is in the chat. He's saying Saunders and Coffee are priced low enough to make you think about playing them. Yeah, Coffee too. I didn't really mention him, but high rates, you just never know what the minutes. It could be 12 minutes. It could be 22 minutes. It could be 24, sometimes 26. So, yeah, both of those guys are, I mean, it would not surprise me if one of those guys had 22 fantasy points for, sub 5K, which is really solid. So, yeah, I'll be taking some shots on definitely Saunders. I don't know if I'm going to get to Kofi yet. I just know Saunders' minutes are ticking up, so I like him a little bit better there. Double-double alert from old Darren here, calling it out. Yeah, So appreciate you guys with all the comments. Keep it going. Let me know who you like. Let me know who you disagree with. If you're playing Bensley Joseph or Jaden Pierre, let me know. But make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate all our viewers and everything for sticking through us. It's been a long season, and we've got 6-7 weeks left of it, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll flip over to the next game here, which should be pretty good for fantasy purposes. Butler +6 at Villanova, 148 implied total. Now, the first matchup, Villanova won this on the road, 73-65, so didn't come close to this total, but expecting a little more efficiency, hopefully, in this particular game. Dixon scored 28 points. He just does what he does. Telford had the monster game. I think this is the one where he scored 55 fantasy points. He had 25, 10, and 6. So this is a pace up for Villanova. Villanova's really slow, deliberate. Butler gets it up a little bit, 160th in tempo here. Butler implied for 71 points here. Villanova's just kind of middle of the pack, Big East play as far as defensive efficiency. We should see an assist boost here for Butler. Villanova's giving up nearly a 63% assist rate. And we do love that both teams don't play any of their bench players, basically. So Butler 299th in bench minutes used. Kind of the same 5 to 6 guys that you're going to see out there for most of the run. Jamal Telford, 8K. Like I said, he had that massive game against them. I don't expect that, but he's just always solid as usual. So if you're playing cash, if you're playing double ups or small tournaments, I definitely don't mind going to Jamal Telford here. He's going to play 37 minutes. He has rates across the board, so he's a solid player. Pierre Brooks, $600 cheaper. I don't think I ever played Pierre Brooks when he's over 7K. So probably going to be a cross off for me, but not playing the high 30s minutes, but he does take a ton of shots. So do you think he catches fire? He could put up one of those 40 fantasy point spots, but he's really got to get hot from the field. I'm talking he's got to shoot 70% from the field and hit a bunch of threes because he's got a little bit of rebounding upside, but doesn't do much after that. There is some value in this game, which, can't believe we got to say this here. Patrick McCaffrey, he's sitting here at 4,400, and, he's going to play 30, close one, 30-plus minutes, right? Sometimes he gets up into the high 30s, so he doesn't take a lot of shots, and he does have a little bit of, ancillary production upside, so I can't remember the last time he produced a stock, so you can throw that out the window, which is why he's 4,400, but more of a secondary value play. I don't think we really need to be getting to too much McCaffrey here, especially when we start talking about the Arkansas value. Then we have so much card value, so it's just in the player pool. Don't think I'll be clicking him, though. Villanova, 77 implied total. Butler, not good on defense, especially inside. Villanova should have its way inside. Dixon had 28 points in the first game. Butler's giving up 54% from 2 in conference. There's a stock boost here if Villanova had anybody that can create stocks. Butler's turning it over via steal over 10%, and then also getting the shot block at 11.5% in conference. So, there should be some fantasy points had here by Villanova, especially with this team total nearing 80. You absolutely love that. Villanova 355th in bench minutes used, so top 10 in the country, right? And not using their bench. So we like that for sure. Eric Dixon, an elite cash play at 9,500. He does have turning upside in this one. I don't know who on Butler's going to really guard him. So will he do anything else on the court? I got buried last year in parts of this year just thinking that him playing 35 to 36 minutes and being, his size and being their guy that, he could rebound the ball more than 5 times a game. So every now and then he will. Just not a guy that's going to produce much outside of trying to score. We'll get a couple of assists, but I think Eric Dixon's an elite cash option at 9,500. You just know what you're going to get with this guy. So give me 1 second here, guys. And gals. All right. So for $400 cheaper, you can play max price Wooga Poplar. I don't think he'll have any ownership in tournaments. So, if you want to, he'll play 35 plus minutes. The rebounding has been crazy for him this year. Just kind of out of nowhere, he's become this massive rebounding rate. So I'm not going to trust that for 9,100. There's other spend up options. If I'm going to spend up, I'd probably just pay for Eric Dixon and hope for, kind of one of those big double doubles that he cracks open every now and then. Now the rest of these guys that are going to see the floor, you got Brickus, Longino, Perkins, Enoch is 3,600. I don't know that I'll get to him, but Brickus is kind of interesting. 20% usage rate, 32% assist rate. He's on the floor a ton. Longino's there. Tyler Perkins is their sixth man. He absolutely needs minutes. So, he's been out there for 25 to sometimes up to 30 plus. The rates aren't great for him, but every now and then he'll pop off. So, for an implied total of 77, that Dixon and Poplar are going to take a ton of shots. So you need these other guys to be efficient with the limited amount of attempts they get. I think Brickus is probably my favorite with Longino. The usage isn't great. Things have to bounce his way at 5,200. So I think Brickus, if I'm choosing between all these guys, and I don't want to play one of the studs here, is a little interesting for large field tournaments for sure. So that'll wrap up the Butler Villanova game. Again, make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, please let me know. We're grinding out here DFS 2 to 3 times a week. We are doing Sunday recap shows of all the news and notes that are kind of going through college basketball, getting ready for all the mid-major tournaments to start. The ASUN tournament starts this Sunday, so I'll be watching that. Just looking forward to the countdown to Selection Sunday here. So make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. We would appreciate that. Probably the most exciting real-life game coming up here with Auburn -5 at Kentucky, 167 implied total. Kentucky wants to get up and down. Auburn will go up and down with teams too. 86 to 81 is the implied total here. So Auburn with 86 implied. Kentucky does not stop anybody. 14th in the SEC in defensive efficiency during conference play. Should get a little bit of a boost even with Amari Williams down there. Auburn, they got the guys that can get to the rim and play around the rim. So Kentucky giving up nearly 58% from 2. That's not a great thing. The thing that you hate about Auburn is who's the second guy that's going to go with Janai Broome, or maybe even third guy, because the 37th in bench minutes used. So Janai Broome at 11K. I don't know how you fade Janai Broome in a 5-point spread with a total near 170. That you're really just kind of hopefully no injury, but things have to go. There's not anybody that's really going to bang him down low to cause him to get into foul trouble. They use Amari Williams as a hub 5. I don't see how he's not on the optimal lineup, but then again, sometimes when things seem like they should be, they don't. So there is merit to fading him because he should be plenty of popular, especially with all the value that's on the slate. So I'm probably just going to start my lineups with him. I may come off of him on 1 or 2, but ultimately, most of the time when he's on the slate, I usually just play him at this point, especially in this type of environment. He's too good. Now, you kind of have to spin the wheel with the rest of these guys, and they're all kind of priced where they should be. Chad Baker-Mazar is a little bit cheaper than what he normally is. He's 6,300. You got Chaney Johnson, he's 6,200. Miles Kelly, 6,200. Denver Jones, 4,300. Todd Pettiford. Todd Pettiford and Denver Jones at 4,300 are certainly interesting. Pettiford could easily 5x this. Denver Jones could easily, all these guys honestly could easily 5x this to go with Broome. It's just, if you know who it is, congratulations, because it's really hard to figure out who goes with him. But Bellyball jumping in the chat here saying, in Chad Baker-Mazar is the number 2 tomorrow. Yeah, he was there at 6,900 and he was, paying that off. So I definitely don't mind him. I think for the large field, I'm going to be going to some Todd Pettiford, man. I think he's due for a monster game. Dan saying, okay, how can I expect to win if I don't stack Auburn, Kentucky? Because it's not really a game that I don't think you need to play more than. Well, let's talk about this Kentucky side, actually, because we know you play Broome with one of these other guys. You could probably play 3 Auburn guys. I could see the optimal having Broome, Chad Baker-Mazar, and Todd Pettiford. If you're going to play 3 Auburn guys, I think you need to play Pettiford off the bench or Chaney Johnson off the bench, so that way you get some of these guys off of the floor. They're not on the floor at the same time. But they're live to score 90-plus real-life points here. Now, Kentucky, 81. Auburn sold some defensive efficiency in the country. Now, Amari Williams' price is down, but this is a bad matchup. You've got Broome down there. You've got Cardwell down there. Chaney Johnson's down there. So this is a big total. We know he has 40-plus fantasy upside. Nobody's probably going to play him for a tournament, so kind of interesting in the large field. And then you kind of got a mess for everything else going on this Kentucky side, right? Like Lamont Butler's back. He played 20 minutes in the first game back from the shoulder. Can he get to 28, 30 in this one? Jackson Robinson, I believe, is expected to come back. Always, really expensive. You're not playing him. So, man, I really wish I knew if Lamont Butler's going to play 28 to 30 minutes. But still, I'm probably taking a wait and see approach. And honestly, I'm probably attacking this in tournaments, large field tournaments, as a 2-0 and a 3-0 on the Auburn side. I don't know that we have to play anybody on Kentucky. I really don't. So just kind of with where the situation is at, it's just kind of weird to think about the Kentucky side. So chat, let me know what you're doing with Auburn and Kentucky. Make sure you guys sign up for the One and Done Invitational. I know we have 30 spots that are open here. Belly Ball saying fully expect foul trouble for Mari tomorrow. Yeah, that's what should happen, right? Belly Ball, like Broom should do whatever he wants. Williams should get into foul trouble, and then we look tomorrow, and somehow Broom had 38 fantasy points, and Mari had 45, and then somebody else like Butler goes off. That's just the way DFS goes sometimes. But you want to play the things that make sense, and what makes sense is you play probably Broom with one of these other pieces and potentially a third one. So that's definitely live for large field tournaments for sure. I think maybe 2 when you're playing smaller tournaments and like cash games and things like that. All right. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you guys for all your support out there. We're trying to chug along to 1,400 subs. I think we got three games left or so. So we'll pop through here on this next one here. Arkansas -1 at South Carolina. It's a pace-up spot for South Carolina at home, so you don't mind it. We'll start with the Arkansas side, 69 implied total. South Carolina's been very poor defensively, giving up 40% from 3 and 55% from 2 during conference play. There should be a stock party here for Arkansas, so this should look pretty nice here. I mean, South Carolina's given up a 15% opponent shot blocking rate and a 13% opponent steal rate. They're even giving up a 55% assist rate to opponents. So, Arkansas, they should be able to feast here. I know it's on the road. Visage now is 9K, but, you just look at the way that this, profiles. He can hurt them inside. He can hurt them outside. He can rack up stocks. Can he just play 30-plus minutes? I don't understand why we can't get him to play 30-plus minutes, but consistently. He'll get there every now and then, but he has really incredible rates, and he can pay this off in 28 minutes. So, if I knew he was going to be a lock for 30 minutes, I would like him as a large field pay-up option. But because of the price and, propensity sometimes for him to play 22, 25, 26 minutes. He's just kind of a solid tournament play. So Visage at a max price is not as good as an Visage at 7K. Davis and Wagner, they're kind of priced where they should be for tournaments. A little bit of upside. It's just I want to get to these cheap forwards Darren saying here in the chat. We got Madute Thiero that's going to be out again, confirmed. So we're going to insert Brazil once again at 3,700 into the starting lineup. And in the overtime game against UT, right? 27.5 fantasy points. Belly Ball saying free square. I don't associate Brazil with free square because he's been a free square a few other times over the past couple of years and it did not work out. But he's pretty close to being a free square. I think it's interesting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to play probably 80% of my lineups with him, and I'm going to flip it over and play 80 on the other 20% at 3,800. So you like the front court rotations to be down to those 3 guys essentially, 80, 21.5, and 22. We know he's a great fantasy per minute producer. So, I could see a scenario where you play both guys. And so that's what I was saying. When you look at this value, when you look at some of the other value we've already talked about, we've got so many options in the 3K and 4K range that we're going to be able to play 2 10K guys or, a 10K guy and multiple 9K guys. It's going to be pretty easy to do. When you flip it over to this for the South Carolina side, 68 implied total. Arkansas pretty tough defensively, 20th in the country in defensive efficiency. You got CMB here, the other CMB here, Colin Murray Boyles. 9,700, and he's been on fire lately, 40, 45, 37 fantasy points on the last 3. He's just a machine. And this Arkansas front court, like, it doesn't strike fear into anybody. I think CMB is I think he's a decent tournament option. He's not my favorite. I wish he was $500 cheaper. I'd feel a little more comfortable in large fields clicking his name. But he shouldn't have any ownership at all. But do I want to mess with that? Probably not going to get to him. All these other guys, like Jamari Thomas and Cash, is pretty nice just because he's going to be on the floor for 30 minutes. He takes a lot of shots, high assist rate. I'm not playing him in a tournament. Davis and Wright, they're kind of just priced where they should be. Not a lot of upside to them. Nick Pringle, it's Nick Pringle. He's 4,200. Like, yeah, would I be shocked if Nick Pringle had a 5x game in 22 minutes? No. Would I be shocked if Nick Pringle fouled out in 7 minutes? No. So a volatile, GPP type target here, but you're kind of playing around with fire when you have these, basically a free square, as Belly Ball said in Brazil over here on this other side. So guys, they're in the player pool, but I don't necessarily think you need to click on their names. I probably won't get to anybody over here on the South Carolina side. Definitely probably get to a Visage on maybe one lineup, and then definitely playing Brazil on 80%, probably 80 on 20% of all my lineups. So we'll slide on over here. Oklahoma +7 at Ole Miss, 141 implied total. Both teams top 150 in tempo. Oklahoma, 72 implied total. Ole Miss, pretty tough defensively, 21st in the country in defensive efficiency. There should be a rebounding boost, though, for Oklahoma here. Ole Miss, they don't really have that big. They don't have a Cisse. They don't have a Sharp this year that's protecting the paint. They're really perimeter-oriented as far as their defense, kind of a Chris Beard staple. So I'm not going to pay $9,300 for Jeremiah Fears, even though he's on an absolute heater right now. This is a max price point for him, and we were questioning playing for him for $6K like 3 weeks ago. So I don't really know why we'd play him at $9,300 on the road here against a Chris Beard defense. So I think for that reason, I guess if you want to click him in a tournament and see if he stays hot, okay. But then you have these other guards that are going to play 30 minutes, Duke Miles and Bryson Gooding. I know Miles completely torched us because he was super cheap the other day. Didn't do much, right? So, yeah, I'll go back to the well on this one here at 4,500. If the minutes were down, that's one thing, right? He should play 28 to 30 minutes. I would obviously render these guys tournaments only, and you're not touching these guys in cash settings. Goodine here at 4,300. It's good. Chris Beard wants the wall off the rim, right, and make you shoot a ton of threes. Bryson's gonna take a lot of threes. I could see him taking 8 3-pointers in this game. So he doesn't do a lot else. He'll probably get a steal, maybe a couple of boards, maybe an assist, but I feel like you gotta take a shot at one of these guys. This is it's a decent game environment. Fears are going to be making sure they make somebody else beat them because of the way that he's playing right now. So definitely for tournaments, Duke Miles or Bryson Goodine. As we jump back into the chat here, Dookie Miles lost. Oh, yeah, in his teeth. Yeah, he got his teeth knocked out. That's right. DK Price. Yeah, Price Fears out for me. Yeah, belly ball. Absolutely, man. I can't play 9,300 Fears on the road. So that just tells you how well he's been playing. So play him in a tournament and he stays hot, man. There's just so much opportunity cost with paying up at guard. It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when you have all these cheap guards all over the place. So we'll flip it over here to the Ole Miss side. Oklahoma 13th in the country and in the SEC in defensive efficiency during conference play. They're giving up 55.5% from 2. Ole Miss should have an opportunity for a stock party here. OU's giving up a 13% opponent shot block rate and a 12% opponent steal rate. So, belly ball saying price down. They absolutely are for an 80-point implied total. Sean Padula, he's just rock solid. You know what you're going to get every time out. Minutes, scoring, assists. I think he's fine for cash. I think he's fine for smaller tournaments. He has some upside, right, to crack open a 40-piece, right, and win you a tournament. Absolutely, but those games are they don't happen very often for him. He's kind of the straw that starts to drink for them, right? He's priced appropriately for what he typically does. So I'm more inclined in tournaments to use these other guys like Malik Dia. I think this is an awesome matchup for him. You can beat up Oklahoma inside. He's an elite fantasy per minute guy. He's super volatile. So you click his name, and sometimes you just don't know what the hell is going to happen when you click his name. But at 6,500, he's definitely worth the shot in large field tournaments. Dre Davis, Jermaine Brakefield, I think they're interesting large field options. I think Matthew Morrell is probably, now that he's down here at 5,200, like he's almost safer for cash, especially playing 30 minutes, right? Like I know he's popped up questionable. It's like he's always questionable. It's basically he's probable every single game. I think he is listed as probable in this one, even though we have the Q tag. So, shot attempts have been down, but I expect Morrell to take 10 plus shots in this one. A little bit of a rebounding upside for him, some assist upside, just have some steal upside. So I think Morrell is pretty solid to get like 18 to 22 fantasy points. So I kind of like him in cash, especially if he's going to be on the floor for 28 plus minutes. Jalen Murray, more for tournaments here at 4,800. The little guy has a high assist rate. Not a guy that's going to, absolutely, light it up, but he's in the player pool, more of a secondary option, right? If you're trying to stack this game or something, or play a Dia with a, last man in type on, I need an Ole Miss piece because they have 80 implied at home here. So probably not for me, but I could see it working out where he gets like 25 fantasy points, and at 4,800, you definitely don't mind that. So cool. That'll wrap up that game. We got a couple of weird ones to finish up with. Texas Tech +1 at Kansas, 140. This is a great real life game. For fantasy purposes, though, it's kind of tough. I mean, this is a pace-up spot for Tech on the road. But look at this. I mean, 71 implied total for Texas Tech. I need the Texas Tech guys to be out so we can, really attack this. But JT Toppin sitting here at 10,500. That is a massive price tag for him. Yes, could he put up 60? Absolutely. I don't think I'm going to play JT Toppin at 10.5 though. That's a huge number for a guy that is a little more volatility. Like, why would I pay 10.5 for JT Toppin in this environment? Like I pay 11K for Janai Broom. Now the leverage piece, yeah, but like, is this the game environment on the road that you want to get? He's got to deal with Dickinson, Badunga. Like, so it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think probably my favorite play, if everybody's in for Texas Tech, I kind of like Elijah Hawkins at 7,600. Been really good for them. I think he's got a little bit of upside in this matchup here. Devon Harris just hasn't been the defensive player. He hasn't been the player that he's been over the last couple of games. He's going to play a ton of minutes, high assist upside, right? So, yeah, I don't mind him. This game is just – these last two games aren't great, obviously, with the totals and everything. And, I just think Hawkins is kind of in play. Now, we'll talk about kind of Tech as a whole, right? Like, if they're going to be down to – if Darren Williams is going to be out, if they're going to be down to 6 guys again, then yeah, you got to look at them a lot more, because you can look at, Overton. We don't know yet. Like, we'll have to get the news. We're going to have to pay attention to the news here, because we want Williams to be out. We also want Anderson to be out. Like, we need some of these guys to be out to, like, be able to make things. Belly Ball says, yeah, Williams is out again. Fetty. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, they're not going to have that many guys. Belly Ball saying injuries are important here. Hopefully we need early. I don't think, this is one of the later games, though. So there's not even that many pivots that we can go to if it doesn't. Yeah, we need we need before slate, the first game, wave of games locks. Over here on the Kansas side, so pay attention to that. Obviously on the Tech side, if we get early injury news, otherwise I can't chance that. Kansas over here at 72 implied total. Texas Tech top 30 in defensive efficiency. That's why you see the total here. Hunter Dickinson, I was on that train on the last game. I think he just crushed Colorado or whoever it was, and now he's up to 10-3. And this is a tough defensive matchup for him. So I think he kind of gets back down into the 30s again. I'm not going to be playing him at 10-3. I mentioned Janai Broom's 11K. Why would I do that? He has some solid options in the 9K range at the forward spot. So Zeke Mayo, 7,400. I think he's a little interesting in this spot, just because he's going to take a bunch of shots, right? Only took 5 last game, which is kind of a weird spot. But he has some rebounding, assist upside, some steal upside. Kind of interesting large field play. Rylan Griffin, if anybody has the almanac on what Rylan Griffin is going to do, because he is so hot and cold. I like that he's playing, consistent minutes recently. Now, he's got to be efficient with the shots. The assists, I'm not going to pay attention to what he's done assist-wise. He's more of a rebounding guy, and that hasn't really been there for him. So I'm not going to pay attention to these like ancillary assist stats that he's been putting up. So not my favorite value just because of the game environment, and because why are we doing that when we have, the Arkansas forwards, when we have the Miami guards? Like, we have the Oklahoma guards. I don't know why we would need to do that. So not a lot to love here on this side, unless you just want one of the studs. And a couple of these guys crap out in the first wave of games. Then you have one of the two studs in Toppin or Dickinson. But man, it's gonna be tough for these guys to get there to 143 total at their price tags right now. All right, last game here before we wrap it up and get you some cores. Seton Hall plus 22 at St. John's, 128 implied total. St. John's blew out Seton Hall 79-51 the first matchup. RJ Lewis had 24 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. Obviously, he scored 51 points, Seton Hall. So not much happened on your side. Some mega pace up for Seton Hall. Seton Hall's 333rd in tempo. St. John's is 61st. But Seton Hall only applied for 53 points. That's because they're the second-rated defense in the country, adjusted. The one guy I'm not playing Dylan Adaiwusu. I know he went off last game, but that doesn't make any sense to play him in this spot, even in a revenge narrative at St. John's. I would much rather go to Prince Lee Bay. He's 4,400. They need him to produce in that front court. Belly Ball saying St. John's D's too good. Yeah, but for a large field like Prince Lee Bay, he's a little interesting. But like I said, we already laid out 3 other spots of value that are, prime spots. So do we have to do this? No. Do I think it's different? Yeah, in case one of those spots busts, absolutely. So really the only guy I'm looking at on this side, Darren saying we need boots on the ground and Lawrence tomorrow. Any breadheads know anybody in Kansas? No, Darren. Daivus is not going for 40 fantasy points. That won't happen again. Do not chase that. St. John's side, Seton Hall is so poor defensively. You got 4 studs. Only 3 of them are priced up for St. John's. But, are we really going to, on this slate, play Kadari Richmond at 9,600 when these guys are going to play like 28 minutes and blow these guys out? RJ Lewis, I knew we had the nice game against them, but at night, even a 24-8-4, right? That's 40 fantasy points. Like, that's not like, yeah, that's great. It's not like completely blowing the slate out of the water, right? So it's like, one, can you get the right guy to do it? I think you'd want that stat line for somebody like Zuby, right? Or Davon Smith at 6,800. So, 75 implied, just a massive spread. It's at home. Like, they need to get ready, obviously, for the tournament. I don't know why they would run these guys into the ground when it's going to be a blowout. So, yeah, if you want to play a St. John's stud, they're all going to project well if you project them at the normal minutes. But like Flag the other day, like why the hell would you play an 11K Flag against Miami? So it kind of feels like the same spot here, but for multiple guys on the St. John's side. If it was just like one stud on St. John's, no, you have 4 of them. So they'll kind of eat away at each other too, which is pretty annoying. So I think Zuby could absolutely hammer this front court. I think he could. So he's kind of the one turning play along with Davon Smith, just because his price tag at 6,800. So I'm probably not getting to a lot of St. John's, except for maybe I'll click Edgy4 maybe one time and maybe a Davon Smith another time. Yeah, they will have the outright Big East title wrapped up by halftime. So awesome job by Patino. Yes, Belly Ball. We have the questionable tag on Aaron Scott. If he is out, then Wilshire does become another awesome value piece. I will agree with that for sure. So I just don't love when these guys start alongside with, Scott gets his. He's a 3-and-D guy, right? Wilshire needs to score the ball to do anything. And when you have Richmond, Lewis, Edgefor, Smith out there, just kind of tough. So, but yeah, absolutely. We pay attention to Aaron Scott news. Appreciate that, Belly Ball. Got to mention that for sure. Cool. All right. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you either download the PrizePicks app or go to, PrizePicks app, not the PrizePicks app here for sure. We are, I feel like I need to drop some PrizePicks for you guys. BracketBids, where you want to go to make your tournament lineups. Auction League. Use the promo code BREAD for 40% off your league activation fees. Thank you so much to BracketBids for partnering with us as we come down the home stretch here for college basketball and then into the craziness that is the transfer portal. Unlike Rothstein, we don't sleep in May. We don't ever sleep, honestly. All right. So having said that, hit the like and subscribe button, which gives you some quick cores here. Let's start with a cash or maybe a safer tourney, smaller tourney. Like you want the safer floor. I think we have to go with Eric Dixon from Villanova. Like he almost had 30 real life points against Butler here in this spot. There's nobody here that can really challenge him. So Butler's one like the spend up that he knows is going to get you like at least 35 fantasy points. Telford's in a really nice spot. Again, he nukes these guys, but that's typically not his game. But he will be out there for 37 minutes. Probably pretty safe for 30 fantasy points in this spot here. I think Matthew Morrell just had his price tag. 30 minutes of Matthew Morrell at nearly a 80 implied team total. Feels like an 18 to 22 safe fantasy point totals there for him with some upside a little bit in tournaments. And then I think one of these Miami guys is going to be pretty safe here. Divine, it's a pace-up spot against North Carolina, right? So I get that they're probably going to get the breaks beaten off of them, but they're still playing their guys, even when kids getting 30 minutes, even in blowouts. So you have Jalil Bethea, Divine, Ugo Chukwu there. I think they're pretty safe floors for like a 3X at least for these guys, with upside for tourneys as well. So they're going to get their 28 to 30 minutes in the spot, and I definitely don't mind it, especially a UNC defense that's it's not going to completely lock them down like St. John's will, Seton Hall. So using that right there, and then we'll slide on over to the tourney, or like I want 5, 6X max ceiling type guys. Obviously, Janai Broom's on the slate. Like he's always just going to be there for us. Kind of like Eric Dixon. Every time he's on the slate, he's in our cash, like safe tourney play. But Janai Broom sitting there at 11K. Cam said he's not playing Terrace Reed. I think UConn has to play Terrace Reed to be successful offensively. He's sitting there at 6,600 for a tournament. Could put up 35 fantasy points pretty easily in that spot. Elliot Cadeau, you're trying to find somebody than the 92 implied total for UNC going against Miami. I wouldn't be surprised if Cadeau had 12 points, 11 assists. He's got some steal upside. So for tournaments only, you're looking for guys that can, get up there at this price tag. I definitely don't mind it. I think we're going to the Oklahoma side with Duke Miles or Bryson Goodine. Too cheap, 4,500, 4,300. Just good spots for them for tournaments. And then obviously Brazil, Belly Ball, I mentioned it. Free square essentially 3,700. You got 80 sitting there at 3,800. Both of those guys, I think, for tournaments, for sure. I think I mentioned I'm going probably 80-20 on those guys for sure. So there's a lot of options that are out there. We listed a bunch of them that I'll be kind of rotating exposure to. I'm trying to knock this thing out. Definitely like the cheaper Auburn guys, the mid-tier Auburn guys to go along with Broom. No sleep for the breadheads. That's right, man. I honestly like the tournament is kind of a precursor to the madness that happens when we start trying to cover the transfer portal. So me and Napesy hustled. We get this big board started, and it kind of goes crazy. Leon wants some PrizePicks. How about this, man? I'm gonna go out, have a few drinks here in a minute, and probably in the morning I'll get you some nice, clean Jack Daniel's PrizePicks up on our Twitter. So make sure you guys follow that for sure. I want to say thanks to everyone for joining me tonight. Hey, we're under an hour. Kind of weird. Thanks to Belly Ball, Cam, Darren, Peanut Butter Posse, Nate, Leon Robinson, Extension 4 for joining the show tonight. If you're watching later, absolutely appreciate it. I think I was forgetting Warren. We jumped in really early in this one, so appreciate all the love out there. Join the One and Done Invitational. It's always fun. Love shouting out the winner. Take a few of my dollars. That's okay. We just want to have fun. The link's in the description here. We'll post something on Twitter as well to get you guys out there. So, come out and join us. Have some fun. I think we'll be back probably Sunday night. Hopefully the conductor, Jay Heinrich, will rejoining us here. But as for that, guys, good luck. And gals, good luck tomorrow. May someone win $5,000 or a King of the Bracket seat. I'll be trying my hardest to do that. And we got to do one more thing, as I am the captain of the One and Done ship here. We got to make sure we get this bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.